you move to a new home, it can be exciting to explore every nook and cranny in search of discovering some long-lost secrets hiding behind the walls. Yet your efforts usually come up fruitless. One day, a group of Norwegian students ventured into the attic of an old house they were sharing. They had no idea what was in there or even if it was safe. Perhaps it was ill-advised, but how often does that stop college students? The students were sharing their house while they attended the local university, and they'd been told by their landlord that there might be a secret hiding place somewhere within it. Naturally, that piqued their interest, especially once they discovered a trap door in the ceiling. They opened the door, climbed up the ladder, and started poking around. Initially, they found nothing more than an IKEA bag and a dirty rug. Pretty boring, standard attic stuff, right? Does this panel look like anything that can be described as ordinary to you? It certainly didn't to these students. What secrets could this out-of-place panel be hiding? Could it be a door? There was only one way to find out, and the students weren't going to wait to ask for permission to investigate. Besides, what would be the fun in something like that? Their curiosity paid off. Behind the panel turned out to be a secret hideout from World War II, and it contained some interesting artifacts, as one would imagine. Before we go any further, let's keep in mind some context. On April 9, 1940, Germany began its occupation of Norway. After just 2 months, the country was fully under German rule. At the same time, local Norwegians mounted a secret resistance against the Germans. They weren't going to let Hitler take their beloved country without a significant fight. The Norwegian resistance was more subtle than some of the others across Europe. People wore paper clips on their clothing to show their status in the uprising. They also printed forbidden newspapers. It turned out that the students found remnants of this era inside the hideout, though some were certainly cryptic. This sign, for instance, read, "If you had a bad stomach, then you do not have access." Whatever could that mean? The sign was more than 70 years old. It was still in great condition, though, and it certainly sent a strong message. The Norwegian resistance fighters were nothing if not brave and clever. The room also had a makeshift alarm system to warn of intruders. That certainly would have come in handy if any Nazi soldiers decided to start snooping around the building. As the students discovered more artifacts inside the room, including this map of Europe, their discovery became public. That's when some local journalists and historians contacted them to inform them of a shocking secret about their findings. According to the journalists, the room was actually used to print illegal newspapers between December 1944 and March of 1945. And they even provided the priceless footage to prove it. Here you see footage of the Norwegian Resistance news writers. They would rewrite stories taken from the British Broadcasting Corporation's radio transmissions during those months. Eventually, they were forced to abandon the room due to local activity conducted by the Nazi secret police. The secret room was also covered in names of cities and towns in Poland. This likely meant that the resistance members were also tracking the Soviet Union's entry into their country. As they looked further into the secret compartment, the students realized that the original door was locked using a large nail. What other secrets could be in store for them? Unfortunately, the lock mechanism no longer worked. One could only imagine how disappointing that must have been for the college students. What other amazing pieces of history were they missing? Even though one of the newspaper writers who occupied the room, Age Thorvaldsen, was eventually discovered during the war, the fascinating secrets hiding in this attic had largely remained undiscovered for decades. Until now. This attic is far from the only hidden room that someone has discovered in their home. Take this other lucky person, for instance. When he moved into a new house, he found a hidden room at the bottom of his basement stairs. Then there's the case of the Farla family in England. They thought nothing of the vent on their hallway floor until they went to replace the grill and saw what was lying beneath it.